Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Nine people were injured when a gunman participated in a mass shooting at the Rochester Hills splash pad in Michigan.
Seven News Detroit This Morning starts right now with a breaking news alert.
Rochester Hills, G2, requesting R2 unit.
We're going to be at the Brooklyn splash pad.
Now at 6, a sunny day at the splash pad ending in violence. Several people shot and injured after a gunman opened fire into a crowded park in Rochester Hills.
I, in my worst nightmare, couldn't imagine standing up here again talking about another active shooter.
The suspected shooter now dead. What the Oakland County Sheriff's Office is saying about that man's history and a possible motive. Plus resources for families who were affected, where they can go to seek support today. Thank you for joining us for this Sunday morning at 8 a.m. I'm Allie Hoxie. Of course, we continue to follow that breaking news out of Rochester Hills this morning. A mass shooting yesterday afternoon in a park full of children and families. Police say shots rang out around 5 o'clock at Brooklyn Splash Pad near Auburn and DeQuinder. Investigators say 9 people were injured, including 2 young boys, an 8 and a 4-year-old. Among the 9 victims shot and injured, a husband and wife, a mother and her 2 children. That 8-year-old boy critically injured with a gunshot wound to the head, a 4-year-old in stable condition. The investigation then stretched a mile away from the splash pad as police surrounded the suspect's home in Shelby Township. Police now confirm the suspected shooter died by suicide. 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michael joins us now live from the Brooklyn splash pad. And Sarah, is the splash pad there still an active scene?
Yeah. Very much so. Live here this morning, the splash pad is still completely blocked off by the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. If you take a look along this road, it's all businesses, but behind those businesses is neighborhoods, homes. This splash pad was recently built as a gathering place for the community here. The shooting happened just after 5 Saturday evening. The shooter fired around 20 shots at the people at the Brooklyn Plaza splash pad before leaving the scene. According to the Sheriff's Office, when they arrived here, they found the shooter's gun, which was registered to him. That's how investigators were able to find the suspect's home in Shelby Township, where they attempted to make contact, but they found the shooter was dead inside. The Sheriff's Office said that they believe the shooter to be a 42-year-old who died by suicide. There were 9 people who were shot at the splash pad. The Sheriff's Department tells us that many of them were members of the same family. Among the victims is an 8-year-old boy in critical condition and a 4-year-old boy believed to be in stable condition, and police believe that they are related as well.
Sad, because you think it you don't think it will happen in your neighborhood. And you think about Oxford and all the tragedy that happened up here. Now this is our tragedy here in Rochester Hills.
So you just heard from somebody who lives in the neighborhood behind the splash pad. I actually have family who lived in that neighborhood as well, and I remember watching this splash pad be built and talking to the people who live here who were so excited to be able to take their kids here and have this as a gathering space throughout the summer. Just a heartbreaking day here in Rochester Hills, and like that gentleman said, something that this community is going to be grappling with, all of us, for quite a while now. Reporting live in Rochester Hills, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
And if you were outside yesterday, you knew how hot it was. The splash pad was the perfect place for families to go until it took a tragic turn. Sarah, thank you for that live report. We'll have more for you.
Now, in this alleged incident, 42-year-old Michael William Nash drove to the splash pad water park in Rochester Hills, Michigan, and took out a firearm and participated in a mass shooting that wound up injuring 9 people, including several children. And after he participated in this mass shooting, this is where Michael William Nash returned to his home, I believe, and wound up taking his own life. And after taking his own life, police soon found him, and they also found an arsenal of weapons inside of his home. Now, the police in Michigan say that this is an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the alleged actions of Michael William Nash, it fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear to me that Michael William Nash is one of these beta males who was definitely living in what I call in The Man Crisis a rose-colored reality in a place I call the secret world. Now, when it comes to beta males, many beta males do not live in our world of reality. No, they live in a place adjacent to it where everything is completely distorted. And that was shown to me by Michael William Nash's alleged whole mindset, where he talked about these conspiracy theories such as the government watching him and listening to us. And this is one of the reasons why he told family members they needed to shut their cell phones off, and walked around his home with a gun in his hand. These are the kinds of actions that beta males participate in a rose-colored reality that they're living in, because they don't want to live in the real world. No, they want to live in a world where they can feel secure about expressing their natural masculinity and their natural sexuality. So what they do is go to the secret world where they can feel safe and secure about expressing their natural masculinity and their natural sexuality. So what these men do in order to feel secure is go to this secret place, and as they're in the secret world, what they do is go out here and amass attachments such as guns to feel secure about their manhood. And as they go out and amass these weapons, what they do is fabricate an enemy so that they can have a reason or a justification for going out here and being in possession of those weapons. Now, these weapons are basically like security blankets for these men. It makes them feel safe and secure about themselves. And these men feel like they need these weapons and they need this enemy in order to feel safe about having their existence in life. And what happened possibly with this man, Michael William Nash, is that as he had these weapons and he had these whole conspiracy theories in his head, these conspiracy theories basically wound up becoming escalated as he basically was on places like the internet. And as he got on the internet, he was feeding himself misinformation from numerous websites that were fed to him by algorithms like those on YouTube and Google. And as he was being fed this misinformation as related to these conspiracy theories, this is what led to the fuel to his fire as related to him feeling like the government was watching him and feeling like the government was an enemy. Because with a lot of these beta males, again, they want to live in their rose-colored reality in private and feel like this is a reason for them being masculine. And that was further exacerbated possibly by the death of Michael William Nash's father, which possibly exacerbated his insecurities about his manhood, because that could have basically triggered him as related to things, because he was still living with his parents. And as he was living with his parents and after the passing of his father, this possibly could have led to him feeling frustrated about the state of his life, frustrated about the direction of his life, and that compiled with the fears that he had as related to the government, as it led to him going from being seething with anger about a government that he believed to be watching him to exploding in rage because he felt like his world was basically falling apart due to the passing of his father. And that passing of his father possibly led to him exploding in this anger and eventually going down to this splash pad water park to go participate in this mass shooting, which he wound up shooting and wounding 9 people. And after shooting and wounding the 9 people in this incident, Michael William Nash possibly woke up and saw the reality of the carnage he participated in, because in a lot of cases when it comes to beta males, when they actually go and participate in these violent acts, this is where they start to see the actual reality of the fantasies they've imagined in their minds. Oftentimes when they go out and participate in this violence and see the carnage that they have participated in, that's when reality sets in with these individuals, and that's when they start to see the consequences of their actions. And as they see the consequences of their actions, this is where they don't want accountability for those actions, and that's where these individuals possibly wind up taking their own lives, like Michael William Nash did in this incident. What happened here is that after he wound up participating in this violence and saw the reality of it, this is where he wound up taking his own life after releasing 36 rounds of bullets at this Brooklyn splash pad and putting people's lives at risk. Then that's when he went home and really dealt with the whole situation as related to things after processing what he had done, and decided to take his own life to avoid accountability from law enforcement, and to basically again go out here and took his own life because he just dealt with the reality of the heinous things that he did. Now, this guy basically, again, had real serious issues, but I don't believe it was a mental health issue. No, when it comes to beta males, these men are not mentally ill. What they are is just they used to living a certain way, living in a way where they can get what they want. But when they have to deal with life in the real world and the consequences of life in the real world, that's when these men basically wind up taking their own lives after committing these heinous crimes, because they're living in their own head, in the secret world, having these fantasies about going and participating in these crimes. But in actuality, when they have to deal with the reality of the bodies in front of them, deal with the fact that law enforcement is coming for them, that's when these men want to take their own lives. And again, what many people will say is, oh, this person was mentally ill, but there was no mental illness as related to the actions. No, those were done with malice aforethought over a period of time, because in a lot of cases, these men feel like they have nothing really to live for because of the conspiracy theories they have in their head. And a lot of times what they want to do is go out in this blaze of infamy and be able to take out the imaginary enemy. But a lot of times after they participate in these crimes, they realize what they've done is so heinous that they don't want to live to be accountable for it. So this incident basically is another textbook example of what happens with beta males when they are out here, and again shows the disturbing increase and frequency of these kinds of crimes here in America. And the sad part about this whole situation is we don't want to acknowledge what is causing this man crisis and increase in frequency of these kinds of violent incidents is the fact of the way we raise children in this country. And the way we are raising boys to become men is not making functional men. No, it's leading to many of these boys growing up to become men in crisis. And these men in crisis are basically destroying the world around them, because a lot of them cannot make life function in this world, and they don't know how to set a course to make life work in a way where they can find satisfaction in life. So instead of looking to build the world around them, what they do is go and withdraw to these secret spaces, and in these secret spaces they enter into an echo chamber where they're basically listening to what they want to hear as related to their ideas of the world, as related to their rose-colored reality. And as they sit there listening to these ideas of conspiracy theories in the rose-colored reality, they're not in the real world with real people and seeing how the real world works. No, they sit in those rose-colored realities until they feel like they have nothing to lose. And as they sit in those rose-colored realities, they simmer and boil in anger until they eventually wind up exploding in a rage. And as they explode in that rage, they want to go out in a blaze of infamy because they feel like they can't accomplish anything in this life. And what's more troubling than this incident that happened in this Michigan suburb is that we have millions of men just like this man, Michael William Nash, all across the country. And as we have these millions of men across the country, they've gone from being ticking time bombs to being landmines. And the scary part is that we don't know what this man is going to do or what he's capable of doing to people because of the spectrum of violent behaviors that beta males participate in. They can go anywhere from a screaming fit of frustration to winding up participating in violence like this as related to a mass shooting, to extreme acts like the Oklahoma City bombing that happened back in the 1990s. That's the extremes and spectrum of violent behaviors that these men participate in. And the scary part is we don't know what these men are going to do or what they are capable of doing and what damage they're capable of doing. However, if we took the time to invest in men and teach them what they needed to know as related to male life skills, male survival skills, and gave men something to aspire and hope for, maybe we could stave off this man crisis. But that's the whole thing is that it's going to get worse before it gets better, because America's big problem is it doesn't want to acknowledge the man crisis in this country, doesn't want to acknowledge the danger from the man crisis in this country or the clear threat from this man crisis. It doesn't want to acknowledge that we have a problem with our men and that our men are not functional in our society because of the dysfunctional way that we parent, because the way we are parenting children, again, isn't raising boys to become men. No, it's raising boys to become men in crisis who look to destroy the world around them instead of looking to help improve it overall. Now, if you want to learn what possibly motivates beta males to participate in these behaviors and how to stop your son from becoming a man in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about the Man Crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App so I can continue making content on the Man Crisis and hopefully help men break out of this destructive cycle. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.